Papa and Mamidem, I'm bringing onto you this special broadcast with two key messages. Now, first of all, I want to reaffirm the assurance we have that this liberation fight is on a good track, meaning we are fastly approaching our desired results. We are consistently winning our enemies. They started by undermining us and provoking us, insulting us, and you remember when they said there was no Anglophone crisis, then it was still an Anglophone crisis. But they refused to recognize the facts. And as the days goes by, they had to accept the sad reality that we were determined to go to the root of this particular matter. So they tried many other manipulative skills and schemes, which of course was futile and fruitless. Hence we are where we are today. Now, one thing that the enemy has not learned in all these years is to see and to recognize that we are determined and we are not going to give up our resolveness until we'll get what we want. La République is very stupid. Of course, it's a shithole country, just like Donald Trump would say. I wonder if they have a brain, if they can think. Just imagine, they've been applying the same principle, they keep applying the same principle to the same problems, and they are getting no results, and they won't change. They keep applying the same principle. They keep increasing their energy in applying the same principle. And they don't, in fact, La République is so stubborn, they can't learn. They are like Pharaoh. Imagine if you were Pharaoh, after seeing and experiencing all what they experienced, the plagues, the manifestation of divinity, the manifestation of God's power, and everything, yet Pharaoh was, in fact, the Bible said God hardened his heart. And I think, listen, La République is financially down, yet they are still playing games. I'm going to put some images shortly on the screen for some of you to laugh. I mean, come on. Nobody. Now, the question is, who in their right senses does these things that these people are doing? And they call themselves a nation. Sometimes I'm tempted to say that we were the fools here, because to see that we lived with these guys together for close to 56 years, it baffles me. I'm still shocked-alized. That's our Amber Voice phrase or word. Shocked-alized. I'm still surprised that we could live together with La République du Cameroon for over 50 years. Seeing that these are people with, man, these guys are just worse. They are, oh my God. Well, for you to be able to understand what I'm talking about, let me put some of these images. Oh God, let me put some of these images on the screen. Now, by the way, as you join, please click on the share button. I said we are not going to wait for anyone to join us. We are just going to go straight into the show. I know it's a little bit late in the night. For those of you in Central Europe, it's already over 10 p.m. And those of you at Ground Zero watching us right now, we are having 15 after 9 p.m. And of course, I know that you guys are very anxious to watch Mr. Nanchop. I appreciate that. I thank you for that honor, and that's why I'm not going to keep most of you waiting. We are going to go straight into the presentation of today, into our discussion of today. And don't forget, this is Amber Voice. If you feel at any time as to call in so as to contribute to the topic we are discussing about, please feel free to call in. But I want us to follow this plan of the day. Now, have you noticed that La République du Cameroun, is very much committed in fighting the interim government of the people, the Ambazonian interim government. The question is why? La République, as a matter of fact, they are not interested in fighting groups. No. La République is not interested in fighting the so-called separatist groups. Right now, they have realized and they've come to the accordance that, listen, this is a government. This is a nation. These people are on their own. I told you that governments speaks with governments. One of the best things, according to my own judgment, and I think most of you can share the same opinion with me, that happened to us in this revolution is the formation of the interim government. And ever since the interim government was formed, did you notice that La République became like a roaring lion? They became brutal. They became wild. They became mad. Now they are moving around on a daily basis seeking and for wood to devour and devising means and strategies to crunch and destroy the Ambazonian interim government. Now wait a moment. Why would the enemy be so interested in fighting the interim government if the interim government is not a threat to her? Why will La République du Cameroun, France, and the enablers of this genocide in Ambazonia be so interested in fighting the interim government if the interim government was not portraying a threat to them? Think about that for a moment. The answer remains that the interim government is a nightmare to La République du Cameroun. Now, you remember when there have been so many groups before the formation of the interim government. There have been so many groups. You had the NCLC, you had SCACUF, SCAPAC, you had the AGC, you had the NCLC, you had so many, permit me use these terms, separatist groups that were very active and functional in their own endeavor, to their own ability. They were doing whatsoever they were doing to crunch down La République du Cameroun. But they did that only as a group. They were never recognized. They had the support of the people. Yes, they did. That's why it is easy for you to hear somebody like Ayaba say, I've been existing for 30 years. I've been in this revolution for 30 years. What can he show? What achievements would Ayaba bring to the table for have been fighting or for have been in the struggle for over 30 years? Nothing. There is nothing he can actually put on the table to say these are the achievements. Okay. John Fonzi. Because he was still part of the system of La République in the form of a political party. That's why until date, even until tomorrow, there will be nothing that John can boast of. Of course, he can talk about how he was supported in the 90s by the people. He made good moves and great moves, but is there anything tangible? Did he even attain the level of talking about federation in that country? If Niger had fought hard to bring Cameroon, the Cameroons, into the initiated federal system that was agreed upon a gentleman's agreement before we came together, we would be clapping for him today and saying, hey, at least he did something in his days. But the man fought and tried and gave up, right? Well, that's not the end of the story. As I said, we've had the NCNC, we've had so many people, patriotic individuals, come up to stand and fight La République du Cameroun. But they did that at the level of groups, parties, whatsoever. I'm not undermining their efforts, but I'm just trying to be realistic here. So they were successful to a certain degree in maintaining our history, in maintaining the cause, in doing the grassroots mobilization. You understand? Like the Akwangas, they tried. I will recognize them for what they did. But he ended at the level of a group. Listen, Our revolution has only gained grounds to this level because we elevated that level of a group. We refused to be recognized as a group. Don't forget, if you remain as a group, you will still be regarded as part of La République du Cameroun. But we know our history. You know your history. You know that you had your independence. You've once been a nation. We've once been an independent nation. We know our history. And every nation, every country has institutions, has emblems. They have the Independence Day. They have things that makes them distinct from other nations. They have a flag. They have an anthem. They have a government. I'll be playing a short message from the president, our president, the Ambazonian president, His Excellency, Dr. Ikomi Samuel Sako, shortly. But before I come to that, I'm trying to build up I'm trying to build us up to what we'll be discussing on this show. Why are they against the IG? I want every Ambazonian to get this message. I want every Ambazonian to understand why La République and France and the enablers of La République, or the perpetrators of this genocide against Ambazonians, why they are so concentrated against the IG. Listen, if you know the amount of money, energy, time La République is investing every week just to fight and pull down your interim government, you will give every support and energy you have to support that interim government. If you only know the amount of energy La République is putting in, the amount of money, cash, the investment, the strength. In fact, brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, I want us to understand today, I want us to see this revolution from another perspective and to be able to, outsmart the enemy. Because there are a lot of things that are happening in this revolution, in this our Ambazonian liberation fight, that we have the control over it, but we are ignorant of that power, that ability to control it. So in our ignorance, we are somehow indirectly helping the enemy, but yet our zeal and our goal and our aims are good, meaning our desires are good, what we are longing for are good, but because of the lack of knowledge, that's why the Bible says, my people perish because of what? Lack of knowledge. Lack of knowledge. You see. And now the rightful application of that knowledge is wisdom. So I want to bring to us today, I want us to see on this particular show, why is La République fighting against the IG, the interim government? And we say interim government because our full government will be established when we get to Buea. Then we'll begin with politics. That's why I love what Dr. Sako usually says. He says what? Freedom now, politics later. Which is, I agree with that. I can go with that. Independence now, politics later. Brothers and sisters, I want each and every one of you watching me right now, Papa and Mami them, ask yourself this question. Why is it that La République is investing so much money, millions of dollars of CFA, just to fight the interim government? If this interim government was not a threat to La République, why are they so muchly involved in fighting it? The answers are very simple. Now, let me bring up some points. Let me stir up our memories, right? You remember 2 days ago I talked about why it's important for us to always remember some certain things that have happened in the past, in the course of this liberation fight, because they give us assurance, they strengthen us, and they help us to be wise, to make good decisions for the future. So first thing, think about it. Did you notice that when Sisiko Ayok, Tabe Julius and the rest, the SCAPAC, the groups, when we're doing all whatever we're doing, we're having the first conclave, the third conclave, the second conclave, name them the fourth conclaves, La République was not moved. La République and France, they saw us and said, what are these guys trying to do? They were not really moved until As a matter of fact, they were still saying and maintaining the language like there is no Anglophone crisis. You remember Atanganji and the rest? You remember they came up and they sat on the horses, on high horses. They were so arrogant. There is no Anglophone crisis. They spoke from high horses position and they were like, to them everything was still under their control because they saw us like terrorist groups, they said. Those are just small chicken rat terrorist group. The AGC is nothing new to us. NCNC, that's nothing new to us. Okay, Skaku, those things are nothing new to us. When they saw the multiplicity and the multiplication of the groups, they were not moved. As a matter of fact, they laughed because they were used to these groups. La République has been used to these groups. As a matter of fact, Ambazonians, brothers and sisters, friends and fans of Mr. Nanchop, we will never and we could never ever succeed at the level of groups because many groups have tried and they failed. Secondly, these groups they were formed and structured in a way where there was never a power to the people. So that's why you see some groups are made up of 30 people, 40 people. There is that hierarchy, which I'll call that dictatorial hierarchy, where you just have some individuals up there, and most of them were vulnerable to deceit. They could easily be corrupted. They could easily be deceived. That's why La République, they have mastered the game of mastering these groups. What they will do is, when they see a group that is coming strong against them, they'll pick some few individuals who are influential in that group. They bribe them off. So these individuals will be in the group. They will maintain their key positions. They will play along as though they are part of that group, but they will be hindering every weapon that is coming out of that group so that it cannot affect La République. So La République has been playing this game for a long period of time. That's why it's been easy for them to overpower us in the past. That's why you can see a group like Ayaba, AGC and the rest. They've been there, they boast for the number of times they've been there, but they cannot show you any achievement. You know why? Because most of them, even in that group, have been corrupted. That's why they have no fruit. La République is good at playing that game at the level of groups, Ambazonians. And they've been doing that for years, for 56 years. Remember, I started by lamenting that why and how on earth could we live with these enemies for so long? Even though we knew our history, even though the cause for which we are fighting is just and true. But we've not been able to have any tangible breakthrough in the past because we operated at the level of groups. This brings me back to what we are discussing about. Why are they against the interim government? Why is the interim government the greatest nightmare of La République du Cameroon? Listen, when the Ambazonian people and their resolveness metamorphosed to another level where it was transformed from the level of group, I call it personally, when there was a paradigm shift. When there was a paradigm shift. Excuse me. Chairman.
Yeah, also, what did happen now?
I'm live,
Okay, you're live.
Yes, I'm live. People can hear you. They are hearing you. Come Willie, Chairman of Manu. Pa?
You set me up so. I set me up so.
No worry, Pa. I'll call you back after show now.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Now stay strong.
Okay, Papa. Thank you. Yes. By the way, Congo Willie will be with me tomorrow live, and we are having a group of panelists that we are coming up tomorrow. We are about 9 of us, 10 of us. We are having a special program tomorrow. No, let me continue what I was saying. Now, let's focus back on this. Why are they against the IG? The interim government. That's the acronym for the IG. Now, I'm telling us why we could never succeed at the level of groups. Why we could never, no matter how zealous we were, no matter how determined we were. Listen, the power of this Ambazonian fight for freedom is not the power of the interim government in the sense that it's based on the number of people in the interim government. No. No, 1,000 times no. Look, the power of a government is the power from the people. So, the groups could only operate at the level of groups with their members. And don't forget, you had so many groups, and this one also, no, I belong to this group, I belong to this group. So they never had a common platform where they all exert their energies together, like merge their energies together to exert it against the enemy. You see, so you had the different groups, the NCNC, the AGCs, and whatsoever. They were functioning and fighting in whatsoever way they thought they were fighting against La République du Cameroun, which was to them okay. But I just gave you some reasons why they could never be 100% effective. Why? Because there was never that power to the people, and there was never that power from the people to support them. So you had a group that is made up of 30, 40 people. These were just the active people. You see, so no matter how they were financing themselves, they did a lot of rubbish to finance themselves. They did a lot of compromise to finance themselves. And it was easy for someone who has so much finance to influence them in the direction he or she wants to take them. Because money is an amplifier. I will not go into that today. So, why the interim government? Did you notice that at that moment where we transformed the revolution to another phase, where we formed the interim government, there was no more skakoof? When the whole thing became clear to the enemy that these people have formed the interim government, and when there was the reaffirmation of our Independence Day, when we all came out on the 1st of October in our thousands and hundreds of thousands worldwide to celebrate and reaffirm, reinstate, recognize. You know, you don't that's why you say, I remember something. It means the thing was there. You're only remembering it. You understand? So you look at the word it's always been used whenever something has existed. You say, I remember, or I revive. It means you were once vitalized. You are revitalizing, you are remembering. So the word is always been used when something has existed. So when we reinstated, when we revived, when we reassured, we reawaked that 1st of October in Ambazonia, because it has existed. That's why I'm consciously using the word When we remembered that day and stood up as one people, we shook off the dust of fully on our body, and we stood up firm against the enemy. La République became mad. That's when they noticed that, man, these guys are serious. When they saw the support that the nation, you see now the power. Until then, you had Skakoof, you had Skapak, you had name them, what the governing council, you had so many groups. But did you ever see the Ambazonian people rise up like one man and one voice to support those groups? No. But when we metamorphosed into an interim government and we installed an interim president with his interim cabinet, my goodness, La République du Cameroun started having sleepless nights. They thought and knew that something is happening and they need to act. So, and you saw that the people unanimously all over, both in the southern and in the northern zone of Ambazonia, we all, both the old and the young, the weak and the strong, male and females, children, even animals, even the trees. Did you notice that even on the 1st of October, even the trees, there was serious breeze? Look at those videos. Go back and watch those videos of 1st of October 2018 and 17, sorry. You will see that on that day, even there was serious breeze all over. Even the trees were making noise because nature has been long awaiting for that day. Ambazonians stood up. And do you know why we all stood up irrespective of the individual affiliations, to whether you were from the northern or southern zone or you were NCSC or whatsoever, we all stood up unanimously as one voice and one people, because we now had an umbrella that covers all of us, namely the interim government. The interim government. Don't forget, we are talking about why are they against the interim government? Why are they against the interim government? Now, the interim government became that our institution, the umbrella that covers all of us. Until then, La République had the chance to make many excuses, which I'm going to come into in a short moment from now. But let me play an audio from our president, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikomi, which I personally think is worth sharing with us and is worth playing because it's a short audio, but the message corresponds with that which I'm passing right now. I want us to listen keenly, brothers and sisters. I want us to listen to this message. I'll be stopping at particular intervals to explain some things to us. But now, let's listen to what His Presidency just sent out today.
Fellow Ambazonians, please do not judge a book from its cover. The first thing I want to remind all of us, Ambazonians, is why we are fighting, what we are fighting for, and what the instruments of our fight are. I know we know all these things were probably the smartest revolution. The revolution made up of the smartest people in modern times. So I'm not talking to people who are not smart, who don't know. So I just remind us that the major contention, what we are contending for is sovereignty. Sovereignty. We are fighting for sovereignty. The major challenge here in this liberation quest is sovereignty. We are fighting for sovereignty. We have reclaimed our sovereignty. We are projecting our sovereignty to those who don't believe us. And the other side is challenging our claims. That is what we are fighting for. That's why we are in this. I say this to tell you why the government, the flag, the anthem, and a president are necessary at this time. These are instruments of state. These are institutions of a sovereign people. These are symbols of a sovereign people. They are the symbols of a country. And if we say we are rejecting subservience, we are rejecting being the slaves of another country or being part of another country, we now find ourselves in a position to project these instruments and use them for our resistance against colonial authority, against colonial subjugation, against any form of annexation. That is why, even before I became an activist, I said we must restore our sovereignty by restoring our government that was dissolved in 1966 by Ahidjo. You cannot say you are restoring a country except by restoring the institutions that were dissolved forcefully. So, in that light, we Ambazonians are okay with the government. Anyone who reasons in a fair way, in a fair manner, in a logical manner, will agree with us that something was taken away, something needed to be brought back, and that is the symbol of restoration.
Wonderful, Mr. President. Before we continue, let me point out some things there. I like what the president is saying here, and he makes it very clear that, first of all, he calls to our memory what we are fighting for. You know, what we are fighting for. You know, the truth is that if you look at the present state of this revolution, of this freedom quest, you are tempted to think that some people have lost the consciousness of why and what they are fighting for. And that's why it's easy in a show like this. Right now you can be seeing me, like all what I'm saying still can't get into the brain of some people. You can go to Facebook right now and you see somebody will be writing insulting comments, you know, insulting and is creating confusion. If you have such a person on the comment link, please, admins, just block them off. Or you others, don't comment and be distracted by them. Support the message. But to show you that some people have lost the focus on the goal, on the bigger image. Some have lost the reason. They don't even know. If you ask them, why are you fighting? They will not be able to tell you because they've lost it. They've lost it completely. Secondly, I love what the president just said. He emphasized on the point that our statehood was stolen from us. And we are fighting to reinstate that. The government, which we had in 1961, 1st October, has been stolen away from us. You see. Now, I want to ask you this question, which I think the president asked or is going to ask. Let me just emphasize on this. How we claimed on the 1st of October 2017 that we have reinstalled our independence. We are now an independent nation. Now tell me, after that, we've had some people who've come online. One of them is this guy in England, Weber, Mr. Weber. Mr. Weber came up and said he was against the ideology. To him, it's an ideology. He said he was and he is still against the ideology in the formation of a government. Well, you cannot blame him. That is somebody who has lived with La Republic for so long. It doesn't change the fact that he's an Ambazonian and that he has in him the desire for freedom, but his brain has been so massaged by the enemy, so much that he finds it difficult to disentangle himself from La Republique. So if you claim that we are, and we were once a country, an independent people, and you are against the formation of a government that stands on that position, so where are you standing? Indirectly, you are trying to say that you are on a position, or you are representing a position of continuous staying together with La Republique. In other words, you want us not to affirm our stance on an independent nation by remaining a sub-nation under La Republique in the form of whatsoever. That's why people like Bala and the rest, they will keep living in a trance. They are pleading and begging for special status or for whatsoever. You saw Bala in Yaoundé begging for special status, begging for federation, because they have refused to accept the reality. Simply because they want, they want connection by affiliation. Now let's forget about that. We are talking about the importance of the government. Now, we all will agree that on the 1st of October 2017, we all stood out and passed a message to La République du Cameroon by saying that we have restored our statehood, Ambazonia. Now, meaning we are an independent country from La République henceforth. Point number one. Point number two, we all stood behind his our ex-president, our ex-interim president, Sisiko Ayok Tabe Julius. and his cabinet and his then cabinet. Ever since, we've been fighting to make sure we maintain that position and give it some strengthful gravity in the international community. Now, I want to ask us a question. If we accept these things, I want to ask us, which country exists in the world that does not have a flag? Is there any country in the world that does not have a government? Now, I'm still to see a country in the world, any country that does not have a government, that does not have a flag, that does not have her anthem. It doesn't exist. So you see, weeks and months later, individuals and activists that have gotten and collected money from La République. Now, remember, I was talking about the groups. The reasons groups could not prevail to a certain level because individuals were easily corrupted. They could easily be bribed over, bought over, manipulated with money. Just like we are having in the days of this revolution. So, when La République saw that the power of the interim government is so overwhelming and is so strong that they cannot overpower it, because it's the power from the people. That's why until tomorrow, this government will not die. Even when we get to Buea, the Ambazonian government will keep growing and becoming stronger and prevail. Yes. If you read the Bible says in Ephesus, well, I don't want to go into that history because you need to understand the history of Ephesus. It says, so mightily grew the word of God and prevailed. I can say that in this our generation, so mightily grew Ambazonians and prevailed. Because to them, we started as an ideology, failing to understand that we were and are very conscious of our history. So let's go back to the point. The interim government. You discover when they saw the power behind the interim government and they saw the grand style with which the Ambazonian people came out. They saw the way Sisiko Ayok Jesus came out and spoke even on the 1st of January. Sorry, the 31st of December 2017. La République marveled. There was earthquake in Etudi. There was earthquake in Paris. They all were shaking. There was tornado because they said, my goodness. They compared the speech of His Excellency then, our ex-president, ex-interim president, Sisiko Ayok Tabe Julius, and that of Dictator Biya. You could see the emptiness of Biya's word. You could see the power in the words of Ayok Tabe. Why? Because of the power from the people. We, the Ambazonian people, unanimously stood behind the government. And that's where every government gets its power, from the people. So it baffled France. La République grew mad. That's why few days after they plotted the coup. It's something they've been working at the background for so long. Remember, ever since October 1st, they've been working on that particular plan with France and some of their internal spies to make sure that they fulfill a secret agenda. And that's how they did it. They succeeded in picking up our then interim leaders, hoping that when they do that, they will kill the spirit of the revolution. As a matter of fact, they will quench down the revolution. Ask yourself a question. Why have they never invested such energy and strength in killing the groups that existed? Because all those groups never portrayed any threat to them. Why are they against the interim government? Let's proceed. I just want us to continue with the the audio from the president. Let's continue.
Our government is the symbol of restoration of our statehood. But there is no government without an anthem. There is no government in the world without a flag. There is no government, there is no country in the world without a government. And there is no government without a leader. I saw on 1st October how that my picture was all over the refugee camps on ground zero.
Before we go into that, because I want to reemphasize on this, I love what the president is saying. He keeps it clear and straight. There is no government without an anthem. There is no country without an anthem. There is no country without a government. These are the facts of the day. Now, ask yourself this question. You saw somebody like I saw some activists came up once, like Mark Perata. He was saying, "Oh, the idea of a government was a mistake." Then you saw somebody like Weber came up. The idea of a government was a mistake. So how? And then these are the same people who are claiming that they want to talk in the name of Ambazonians, as though they are recognizing the statehood of Ambazonia. So ask yourself the question: where are they standing? If they recognize our statehood as Ambazonians and our nation as Ambazonia, why are they against the interim government? Seeing that there is no country without a government. Brothers and sisters, now we can begin to understand that we are beginning to understand that these guys have given up internally on the sovereignty of our statehood of Ambazonia. You see, that's why they will never come up publicly to say that. Do you actually think EPOM, Mark Arata, will come and say, "No, we'll not do again for Ambazonia"? It suffices us to know that he says it was a lie, it was a sham. When we be talking about the interim government, the idea of interim government being a bad thing. This is the same interim government they all stood for and supported. Now they are coming to stand against it. Why? Something has changed. Not the stance of the interim government. The mindset is because they have changed stance. They have moved from that position of independence and the sovereignty of our nation to the position of special status. Did you notice that these guys only started becoming so eloquent in this particular lane of thought only after Mr. Biya had organized his so-called national dialogue? Even before the national dialogue, there have been a lot of consultations with these individuals to manipulate the people so as to do what? Tell them, listen, we are going to organize a so-called special Grand National Dialogue. We will give you people what you want. We'll talk about federation. We'll talk about confederation. That's what La Republic was trying to say. The only problem is that you people must do everything to cancel that interim government. If you can cancel the interim government, everything will be okay. We'll give you people everything you want. You know, La Republic is an enemy you can never trust. You can never trust their word. They are people of bad faith. Anybody who is still trying to believe a word from the mouth of La Republic is worse than the devil. He himself is worse than a fool. Because tell me one promises La Republic has ever given the people, even their own people, that they fulfilled. So why should anybody in their right senses think or believe that La Republique du Cameroon will give them or make them promises and fulfill it, including Ayok Julius Tabe? Did you notice that the strength of the interim government under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikomi has overpowered La Republique so much that they had to push Ayok Tabe? And we are coming to that, to open a parallel government. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to expose to the Ambazonian people today why that ever happened. Because they are against the interim government of the people, what I personally call the people's interim government. Some choose to call it PIGS. We are fine with that because it's the people's interim government. Brothers and sisters, let's proceed. And now we are coming to a more interesting part of this speech of the president, which I really want each and every one of you to get. Now, click on the share button because I don't want anybody to miss this particular message. I wish every Ambazonian can get this message. Listen to this.
On banners held by restoration forces and the population. I don't condone these kind of things. If you know me, you will know my attitude towards power. For me, it is a different thing. I'm here. If you know how I got here, you will know that I'm not a power monger. Power mongers go to look for power. You cannot be a power monger. You stay in your house. You are not part of anything, and they come and take you in your house to be a leader, and they say you are a power monger. You must first of all spend some time to know my attitude towards political power, my philosophy. and just follow my steps and see how I got here. I saw my pictures put all over the place. One, I did not ask any local government, any county whatsoever, at any time to project my picture. I knew that there would be banners all over the place for independence. But they decided, the organizers decided to put my picture there. In as much as I'm not comfortable in my skin to see that, I don't condemn them either, because I know at this point we are ready to use tones to resist. We are ready to use tones to speak our mind to the international community, to speak our mind to those who doubt our resolve. And we are going to do everything we can do to project the institutions of our republic, to talk of our full restoration as declared in 2017. My picture is not the first picture that is carried all over the place. Remember, we all tolerated it, not because we are building some political dominion, not because we are building some dictatorship, as some people just are quick to condemn. Okay, I understand. When you are used to watching only horror movies, you will judge every movie from its cover, because you are so used to horror. In fact, when you are used to horror movies, you think everything is a horror movie until you're proven otherwise. La République has destroyed us to the extent that we cannot understand our own liberation quest. We cannot even understand what we are fighting for. We cannot understand what we are projecting at this time. How do you feel when at this point in our struggle, La République goes to the United Nations and makes a stupid claim that he is not coming to the table because he doesn't know who to talk to? One, is not only denying our sovereignty, he's also telling a lie in broad daylight to people who know very little about our struggle. Anyway, the members of the United Nations don't all know about our struggle. They don't even know what we are fighting for. They think it's just an internal affair in La République. But when we project the instruments of state, the instrument of a country, we are making our case clear. And when La République says that they don't know who to talk to, and the people overwhelmingly, by their own expression, project that person, they are not making a guard. They are making a statement of revolt, a statement of resistance. They are saying, if you don't know, you should all hear and see. This is what we mean. I allowed it. We watched it with my wife. We allowed it for that purpose, for that reason.
Before we continue, the audio is almost running to an end. I want to emphasize on something the president just said. I want to keep the record straight here. You know, it's good that he addressed this, because I said earlier that every government gets her power from the people. Every government is empowered by the people, because of course the government is for the people, by the people, and with the people. And we noticed here that, and we all saw it, we saw the October 1st celebration. Now before then, we've had a lot of people talking on social media, running their mouths, ranting and saying a lot of nonsense. You hear the AGC saying we are the largest force on ground zero. You hear EPOM come and say, oh, I have ANA, Ambazonian National Army, I'm the activist with the largest army, I control the largest army on the ground. They've said all those lies to manipulate the international community, to deceive gullible individuals that they are in control, because they want to pass the narrative out to the enemy that they are the ones in control, they are the ones in power, whereas the facts are different. Before now, that's why you see somebody like EPOM, he comes up every day on his show to spew negative things, negative words against Dr. Sako, our president. to say a lot of negative things against our interim government. Remember, we are talking about why are they against the interim government? Why? We'll be answering that question at the end. But I'm bringing up these points together. So these guys will come up and say all these negative things against the interim government, fight the interim government, simply because they know that the interim government is doing what she should be doing. Now, they came up and said they are the ones in charge, they have the highest army, but the 1st of October has proven all of them wrong. Look, Ayaba and his people, some of you will bear me witness. Is it Pascal Kiki that they said ahead, or what, that he said on the 1st of October 2020, we will know who has the highest force on the ground. When the 1st of October came, because the interim government is for the people, by the people, and with the people. It was the people. I said that. Listen, Ambazonians are not fools. Ambazonians will not support groups when they have a government that stands for their institution and stands to defend their statehood. As a matter of fact, that's the right thing to do, because a government is there for the state. A government rules a state. A government covers. You can have different groups or political parties in a country, but the government governing at the moment is for the nation and is for everybody. Even if there is some citizens, I repeat, even if some citizens don't love the president, like in the US, Trump has been in power. There are many Americans who might not love Trump, but the American soldiers, the armies, the police, the gendarmes, the institutions, they all will stand for the government and or Trump's government. You see what I'm saying? Because the government is for the state. These are gigantic institutions that represent every nation. Then show me a country without a government. So what am I trying to say? In other words, the Ambazonian enemies are not against. Listen, have you seen them fighting Ayaba? Have you seen them fighting EPOM? No, they are against the interim government because they know what that means to them. Is the biggest nightmare and the biggest enemy of Mr. Biya and his dictatorial regime. So, brothers and sisters, let's proceed here. Now we are seeing that it was the people of Ambazonia, because they know who their leader is. They know, even the fighters. Think of it. All the generals, all the LGAs, all the counties. We saw even in Manu, where we have one of the greatest cabal against the interim government under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikomi. We saw, even though we saw the fighters, they went out. They were the first to even hold the flags and the posters of Dr. Sako to show you who they pay their allegiance to. And here in the president's speech, he was not even aware of it. You can get it now. He didn't even like that they were portraying his image. But the people chose to do that because they are passing a message to the world. You know, Ambazonians are not fools. Ground Zero fighters are not fools. You hear all this social media nonsense, noise that you hear. Every tattoo will come up and is boasting. That's all he can do. Have you ever heard Dr. Sako or our generals come up like that on social media to boast and make noise? No, they are the ones paying the price, the ground. They are the ones fighting the enemy. They are the ones crumbling the enemy. They do the great work at the ground. You never hear them come every day on a live show and they are boasting, they are fighting, but they are the ones with the highest power and influence on the ground. You see, so if you see somebody who is suffering of identity crisis, is the one that comes to know because Ayuk Tabe and his gang, Eric Tato, they are suffering of recognition crisis. They've seen that Ambazonian people does not recognize the evil thing they are doing, and they don't recognize what they are doing, and hence they have not given them any support. They come up and you hear him, you hear EPOM, oh, why is it that all the international media are talking about Ayuk Tabe? They go and frame up stories, frame up things to talk so that they can feel good. You know, they feel the emptiness in them. They are so empty, they are so useless. They've seen how they've become so useless in the face of Ambazonians because of their treacherous acts. Now, they have to say these things. Think about it. EPOM will come and say, he is the commander-in-chief of the national army. He has the largest military. Every nation displays its power or her power through the military or their military might on their day of independence. Ayaba, Tapang and the rest who are very good at propaganda and lies telling, manipulation. Before then they were boasting they are the strongest force on the ground. But when the time came, when the Ambazonian people and the world was expecting to see them manifest that power, we never saw even 10 soldiers from them. But we saw across Ambazonia, old and young. I mean, all over, even in ground zero, even abroad. Ground 1, Nigeria, all over, even in Germany, we saw Ambazonians worldwide. They passed a single message to the world. Namely, they told the world by carrying the flags and the banners and all those things with the image of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikomi, they were indirectly giving a message to the world that this is our leader, this is our president, this is the person we support. All the fighters, over 10,000 of them, came out in their uniform, ARF, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. They carried the flag and the banner of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ikomi Sako to show the world who is in charge. Oh, I wish I could see the faces of those who were boasting and shouting and ranting on social media that they were in charge. And this is what they've been doing, because at the level of their group, they can always deceive themselves and try to deceive others in their self-deception and in their manipulative shames to create confusion and to create an image. You know, they're always trying to create an image that does not correspond to reality. You see, so we are seeing an instance where the people are coming up, even without the knowledge of the president. Now, this beats my imagination, because you see that it was the desire of the people, of the LGAs, without the knowledge of the government. They were the fighters, the boys at the ground, the fighters, the generals. They were the one who said that they are coming up with the banners of the president to show the world who they are fighting with, or who they stand with, who they support, who they pay their allegiance to. I think even a blind man could feel it and see it, could perceive it on the 1st of October 2020, that the Ambazonian people have decided who should lead them, who is leading them, and that all this social media noise, activists who are running their mouths on social media, that's where their own sphere of influence ends. You know, and you know their own sphere of influence ends on social media with the fake views. You know, people can buy views, right? Right now, I'm having 400 views. I have my 400 people watching me, and these are organic views. These are authentic individuals, people watching me right now, and the thousands that will watch after this. I prefer it to remain in that sphere. But you know, some people are so gullible and lost in their own self-deceptive, manipulative skills that they must do things to push themselves and pump up their ego. Whereas deeply in them, they know that they are lost. And they do all these things just to do what? Because they want to feel good about themselves. Brothers and sisters, that is not the Ambazonian revolution. The revolution is fueled by your will and my will, our resilience, our collectiveness, the ability for us to merge and constructively put our energies together and to forge the way forward. And I said, this can only be very effective in our full support of the interim government, because the interim government of the people of Ambazonia is the greatest nightmare, one of the greatest nightmares, I will emphasize, against the enemy, against La République du Cameroon. Let's proceed with the president's speech.
If you want to use everything I am and everything I have as a weapon of war to make our case, I allow you to do it. Yes, I will allow you to do it. We are using everything. Restoration forces use stones. They use sticks. They use everything they have in their power. And we are where we are today. Just trying to make one statement, that we are a sovereign people. We are not anybody's slave. And if you want to use me as president, because I am there now, and if I am not there tomorrow and there's another person, you are free to use that person and his name and his image and anything as an instrument of resistance to tell the other that we are different. We are not the other, we are different. You say you don't know us, you don't even know if we have a leader, you don't even know if you don't know who to talk to. Here is the one to talk to. How can I be the leader and I sit with other leaders in the act and we call the enemy we are fighting against on the table, and he comes with his flimsy excuse that he doesn't know who to talk to? And if the forces on the ground and the refugees and all Ambazonians are carrying that name up, how do you look at it as a campaign, brother or sister? How do you see that as a campaign? How is that a campaign, a political campaign? What is the campaign going on now? It's a campaign that projects our sovereignty. That's the campaign. This ends here, and it ends when we get to Boya. It will be something else when we get to Boya. It's crazy.
Brothers and sisters, I think that particular message from the president is very clear. Now, if you want that message, I can send it to you on WhatsApp. Now, look, this is my number down here. This is my WhatsApp number. Store this number. If you are an Ambazonian and you don't have this number on your phone, then you are a fake man. You should be having Mr. Nanchop's number. This is my number. You can always contact me through this number, preferably per WhatsApp. Now, if you want the audio, I'll send it to you. But now, let's go back to the end of the audio. And I love what the president is saying. Now, listen. And this is why I'm going to, this is where I'm going to expose to us some deep secrets about La République. Now, by the way, please share. If you are just joining us, I want you to click on the share button. Click the like button, the love sign, punch some love sign for our president. And of course, for me, Mr. Nanchop, the German steel. Man, I go vex you now. In fact, tomorrow I'm coming up. Or any woman when they watch me, now we never press on the love sign for Mr. Nanchop. Now tomorrow I go respond for you, no be today. I'm coming to that topic later though. Now, brothers and sisters, let's come back to our topic of the day. Listen to what the president is saying. You know, some people have lost it, just like we started saying. They've lost the reason for which we are fighting. They've lost focus. They've lost the zeal and the desire for which we are fighting. Or I lack words to describe this. They have forgotten the reasons that makes us stand together and fight. Why our brothers and sisters are carrying the weapons to defend homeland and fighting. They've forgotten that so quickly. And now they've become so politically engaged in their minds. Can you imagine when this guy started Scope? Can you imagine that one of them here in Germany called Sama, Sama whatsoever, or Zama, he called me and wanted to politicize me. He told me that, my brother, we define it, so can't join me for Scope. If you join us for Scope, by the time we get to where we will be a political party, you will have a high position. Can you imagine what these guys are thinking? We are here, we still fight for get the country, for deliver ourselves from the enemy. These guys are already trying to make this political party. So it shows you their mindset. Where is Scope today? They've been talking about Scope. What is Scope doing for the people? You see? You see the problem? And that's why it's easy for somebody like Ayok Tabe, who is so conscious of power. He's so, he's so, I lack adjectives to describe this. He's suffering from power mongering. They only think about leadership and power, and what they fail to understand is getting the enemy on her knees and taking ourselves from the camp and the bonds of this enemy, which is our utmost plan, or the most important duty at the moment. So, having lost all these visions and inspirations, they are now investing their energies and strength on unnecessary things, namely politics. That's why they will never condemn the killing of our people. You will never see them make reports against the killing of our people. That's why you will hear them, because they think the government is no more in their favor. They are talking against it, forgetting to know that that's the only institution we have that recognizes and represents us as a people. even to the international community. And this leads me to what the president was saying. Now, look at what Mr. Biya has been doing. And this is why until tomorrow, listen, I am totally very wroth against Ayok Tabe, because Ayok Tabe has not only caused the death of so many Ambazonians, him and his friends and colleagues or whatsoever, their group, but he has also committed one of the worst crimes against the Ambazonian quest for freedom. Because look at what the enemy is doing now, Mr. Biya and his cohorts. They are now going to the international community and they are saying, we don't know who to talk to. You see, because you have Ayaba, he's here. Ayaba is trying to pop up himself with a lot of lies telling and propaganda, as though he's the one controlling ground zero, as though he's the one that has the highest and the largest force at the ground, which is an erroneous thought. He's trying to propagate that thought and ideology to the international community divergently, which is totally wrong. And you have Ayok Tabe on the other hand. He's gone there and created his so-called Koningi Mafia group, which he recognizes and calls interim government. Now, here you have the people's interim government, to whom the people pay their allegiance, they pay their obedience, they are supporting. Until the 1st of October, there was a lot of confusion in the air. Now, Paul Biya and his cohorts are using that to their advantage, because now they go to United Nations and say, we want to talk to the people. We want to come to a negotiated settlements. But who do we talk to? They say, we don't recognize any leader. You see it? They say, no. That's why you see they've been trying to manipulate Ayok Tabe to have a talk with him so as to claim that he is the recognized leader from them. But because the people of Ambazonia have instantly and continuously proven to the world that they don't support Ayok Tabe, they are not behind Ayok Tabe, and they will never endorse any form of agreement, negotiation, or communication of La République du Cameroon binding with Ayok Tabe Julius. You see, they will not allow it. So La République has been playing all these games and they are doing all these things because they were hoping and aiming that they could, to a certain degree, succeed to manipulate the revolution. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that before the 1st of October 2020, even those international treaties, bodies, parties that have been doubting, if any of you were still doubting, the people of Ambazonia are paying their allegiance to, they are paying their respect to, they are paying obedience to, then now it should be clear to you that the interim government, the people's interim government, under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikomi, have made it very clear that they are standing for this interim government. And now you see, La République was using Ayok Tabe and his parallel government to tell the international community they are divided. You see, we don't know who to talk to. We don't know, do we talk with Ayok Tabe? Do we talk with Ayaba? Do we talk with Akwanga? Who do we talk to? Do we talk with Sarko? No, they said no, they are so divided. No, the Ambazonian people have proven La République wrong by their actions on the 1st of October. That they came out, the fighters, all the generals. Imagine, we have over 500 generals. We have the major generals. No, most of us are acquainted with the major generals. For instance, you know, like Major General Field Marshal, or you talk about Major General No Pity, Major General Commando. We talk about these major generals, but they have their sub-generals. So we are used to these big generals, we know their names, but they also have sub-generals who are responsible for the individual villages under their LGAs and their counties. So these guys have big sphere of influence, and they are in their thousands. Can you imagine? So over the 10,000 Ambazonian restoration forces we are having, we have over 10,000 Ambazonian restoration forces on the ground, fighting under the command and leadership of the interim government of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikomi, all over the territory of Ambazonia. Even at ground one in Nigeria, we saw the refugees came out And they gave a clear message to the world. If you are going to negotiate or talk with anybody, if you ever want this war to end, all the generals were passing a message to the international community. If this war is ever going to end, if there is going to be any form of negotiated settlement, it must be with this individual. At least at the moment, that's the person they've put in front of them as their leader and as their interim president in charge of their interim government. I never saw Ayaba, and I didn't see the face of Sisiko. I never saw the face of Akwanga or whatsoever. So, to the international community and to all the fans, friends and sympathizers of the Ambazonian revolution, the message is clear. The interim government, under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikome, is in charge, both at home and abroad. So, whosoever want to follow, La Republic, and this is the sad thing. The sad thing is that so long as some individuals still keep giving people like Ayaba, Ayok Tabe, by the way, nobody supports him. If you look at it for real, look at all those who are supporting EPOM. Go to his wall. Sometimes you just read the comments. Agbo, Eno, Erok, and I don't want to be mean here, but I believe that it's a small group of people. There are about 30 of them. You see, they go and create their fake profiles and multiply it, and then they come to make those comments to feel good as though they have their supporters. So those are the little ones, the few ones we call the Manu Cabal. They don't really belong to Manu, because if they were true indigenes and citizens of Manu, they will not behave that way, because the Manu people are discreet and intelligent people. They don't support nonsense. I mean, I'm talking about the true Manu that me and you will know. Listen, a Manu man is a proud man. You never knew. I don't want to tell you about me. You will never know that. Let me not go into that. A Manu man is a proud man. You see, a Manu man is an intelligent man. And a real Manu man who has pride and dignity and loves motherland like we know, will not support the evil of Ayok Tabe and the few so-called Manu Cabal. It's sad we call them Manu Cabal, because when we use the word Manu Cabal, somebody can feel like we are talking about them old Manu. No, the real Manu. You saw Manu Che just called me Willie. Come on, Willie, just call. It's a good friend of mine. We talk often, and you'll be live on my show tomorrow. These are the real Bab Manfe and the rest. You see, the real sensible Manu people are there. They know the truth and they are fighting for the freedom. They are behind the interim government. You see, because they stand for the people. They stand for the truth. So these few corrupt individuals like the Ebinis and the EPOMs, and name them, Failure Congo, you see them. Now they are beginning to show themselves publicly. You see, like the Failure Congo and the rest. Where are they right now? They've taken side with the enemy openly against the people. This is giving us a clear message. Now, brothers and sisters, this brings us back to the question and the key topic of the day. Why are they against the IG? They're against the IG because you are for the IG. They're against the IG because the IG is for your independence. They're against the IG. Listen, La Republique does not care about Ayaba. La Republique does not care about Tapang and the rest. La Republique does not care about Ayok. It's under their charge, though. La Republique does not care about the NCNC, these groups. La Republique does not care about that. La Republique's biggest nightmare as of now is the interim government. That's why the international pressure keeps mounting on La Republique. And what they are trying to say is, we don't know who to talk with, because they're trying to play a game, right? Do we talk with Ayaba? Do we talk with this? But now, henceforth, I think the message is clear. They now know who is in control. And they can never go again and say to the international community, we don't know who to talk to, because the Ambazonian people have unanimously proven that the interim government, the people's interim government, under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ikome, is the person and the people to talk with. Should there be any, and listen, they will never, La Republique will not know peace. La Republique will not know peace. They will not know peace. Our president have said it. A child refuses the mother not to sleep, he too will not sleep. And the truth is, I like what the president said during his 1st of October speech. He made it clear. He made it clear that we've lost everything. We have nothing else to lose. Black Republic has everything to lose, and they will start losing it now. I mean, regrettably. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, we must stand firm. I've told you that if there is any one of you out there who is not supporting this interim government under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikome, you are indirectly supporting La République to fight against the interim government. Listen, brothers and sisters, we must learn to do that which is correct and collectively true for all of us. We must learn to do that which is for our collective benefit. Let me give an example. America. Do you actually think everybody loves Trump? No. Do you think even some soldiers and armies, they love and they vote for Trump? No, they never voted for him. There are people even in his, they never, but so long as he is in that chair and that position of power, and is the CIC, the commands he gives, should Trump give a command today that Germany should be invaded, believe me, even armies and soldiers that never voted him in power, they will see themselves compelled to fulfill that command. Why? Because of the sovereignty of the state. It's a governmental command. You see what I'm saying? Should any country attack US right now and the president gives a decree for a military retaliation, believe me, even those who are speaking against him will stop because of the state. Brothers and sisters, I know for so long, some of us have been deceived by the propaganda of these individuals who wanted to project themselves instead of pushing forward the revolution. They want to show how big they are. They want to show how much they are in command. But I'm so glad that ground zero, you and me, we've proven them wrong. The soldiers, the fighters, the government, the people, the murder. I saw murders in their thousands. They came out with placards, with posters carrying His Excellency Samuel Sarko Ikome's face and name to show the world that this is the person. Tell me, think about it for a moment. Do you actually think La République will ever be able to let them go and bribe Ayaba, let them go and bribe Ayoktabe, let them take this in? We give them, we dash them, EPOM, we dash them, we give them for free. We are giving them these individuals for free. Would you think they will be able to change the game at ground zero? They will never. So long as me, Mr. Nanchop, I'm still here standing with the interim government, so long as you are there, so long as the people of Ambazonia are there, standing behind the interim government, it doesn't matter with whom La République tries to play any game, they will never have peace. Because the people who are of importance, the people they are supposed to talk with, they want to trespass them to go and talk and negotiate with whosoever, they will never know peace. So this is a clear message to La République. No matter this reflections are affecting, no matter who they are trying to go and talk with and negotiate with, and the games they are trying to play with whosoever or whatsoever, the fact remains that there will never be any good or peaceful, lasting solution or settlement without them facing the people in charge, and that's the interim government under the leadership of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikome. And that remains a statement of fact, unchangeable, undisputable, today, tomorrow, and forever. So even if Dr. Samuel Sarko Ikome leaves the office today, whosoever comes to that office will have my 100% support and will still have the support of the Ambazonian people, because that's the right thing to do. Because even if Donald Trump should lose the election, and whosoever comes in, the American people will still support that government and his government. And that's the right thing to do. Not because they love him, not because they love the Democrats or what. No, because it's the right thing for a sensible people to do. Now, you and me, we have a responsibility at this juncture, namely to respect our institutions. You see, so you have La République du Cameroon fighting against our IG. They are paying people to do. Look at what they are doing. They are even Christmas. Did you notice that this guy Chris Ebini or whosoever? I'm still to talk about him though. His name is in my black book and it's almost full. And you know, whenever somebody's name moves from my black book to the red book, he's finished. I will just come and grind him. So I think it was yesterday that I noticed his name is moving over to my red book. So one of these days I'll open his file. Don't worry. That's not going to be our topic for today. But think about it. There are so many people, because they are so politically infiltrated in their thoughts. They are seeing this revolution as though it's a political game. So they are trying to fight our interim government. They fight every good thing our interim government is doing. Here you have a situation where you have a man. Now, oh my goodness, I had a very touching message. Let me play this message. Somebody sent this message to me yesterday. I never planned to play it, but it just came to my mind. It occurred to me that I should play it, and I think it's timely. I'm going to play that message, and I'll round up. I think the part B of this was for me to. I wanted to go into disproving EPOM and the BAS guy, but because of time, I should keep that for another day, right? Because I want to take my time to explain things. I'm glad I gave them time. We gave them time. They are coming up with their videos, and even in their videos, they are exposing themselves. I will explain these things to you in a subsequent show. But to round up for today, let me play this. I want to play an audio that someone sent to me. I'm sorry I didn't load it up into the system. It would have been much easier, but let me just try to, you know what, I think you should, why talk, let me put it up in the system, because it will be, for the sound quality, it will be better. Now, in the meantime, I think I should be getting some calls. If anybody wants to call in, and you're free to call, I'll be able to take calls now. But nevertheless, brothers and sisters, we are rounding up by saying that it is our responsibility to support this interim government, in the sense that we must give the by the enemy not to support the interim government. I just want to hope that somebody is still getting me. I'm seeing here that okay, I think Right. Please be patient with me. I shouldn't have opened the web browser. It's like when I did, it affected my connection. Okay. I believe we are still live. Okay, wonderful. Oh, man. So please, if you are just joining us, click on the share button. We are about to round up, and I want every Ambazonian to get this message. And sometimes I really wish that my messages can go to the interior parts of Ambazonia, for the mothers in the villages to get them. A lot of people write me and say that, Mr. Nanchop, they love my shows, but they are sometimes very lengthy, and some people in Ground Zero don't get it. It's sad. It's sad that we have the means for that, but we are not allowed to exploit it to its fullest. I wonder if we are fighting the same revolution, though. Well, with that being said, let me play an audio. Mad. Let me play an audio that was. Let me play an audio that was sent to me. I'm trying to load it up into the system now. I got it. Perfect. Excellent. I think it just only occurred to me that I should play this audio because I thought it's necessary for the Ambazonian people to get, and it complements my message of today. So I would definitely want everyone who is watching me to get this message. Perhaps most of you have had it already on your phone. It was sent to me on WhatsApp, but I think it complements what we are talking about. It complements the topic of today. You know, why have they been fighting against the interim government, against Dr. Sako? And you know, the shocking thing is that most of those doing this are people from the house, interior people. They are fighting against the interim government. They are fighting against Dr. Sako. They are just fighting because they in their mind, they are looking at this thing as politics, right? And this is no time for politics. So they look at Dr. Sako as a political opponent. So they are fighting him. So that's why everything he's doing, they are trying to interpret something negative out of it. That's why they are so shameless. They will go as far as try to tell lies. Look about my trip. Look at they will frame up lies with my trip to Buea or whatsoever. Just of recent, they even made another lie that came up. They try to manipulate a typed message or a communication between me and His Excellency and our president. I mean, it's a shame. Now you ask yourself, these are things you should be expecting that La Republique is doing, but sometimes you have them from people in the house. Why? Why are they doing this? They have become internal enablers, helping the enemy to hinder us. Let me assure you of one thing. No amount of mismanagement in this revolution or thievery will go unpunished when we get to Buea. But what is more important? Let's get to Buea, so that we'll be able to build our own institutions and able to call those unto justice and judge them. So why don't we fight and get to Buea and then get ourselves sorted out? But because these individuals, they are trying to make everything to look like a political game, and because of jealousy, most of them are people who've lost it. Look at somebody like Nick Castel Santos. This is someone who was in the interim government. He knows that he has lost it. He knows that he's lost everything, every credibility, everything. He knows that he has no more hope. So what he's trying to do is to take a confirmed position against the interim government. Now it's like you writing an exam and you fail, and in you are thinking, man, and somebody else is given that opportunity to write the same exam. So you are hoping that the person too will fail, so that all of you will be on the same level. That's what they are trying to do. They had their chances. The one that the interim government should also fail, Dr. Sako should also fail. Now think about it for a moment. We are drafting to go to Buea. We are drafting for self-defense. We are drafting to help ourselves. We are drafting to protect ourselves from the perpetrator of genocide in our territory. And you have some individuals who are already prophesying the doom of that draft. They are happy. They are saying, no, see, they only chop on the money. Draft don't fail. Money. Why are they so negative? If truly they were for Ambazonia and they are for the revolution, they will be coming up with idea. By the way, they will be supporting the draft, saying, oh, it is a good idea, we love it, let's put our ideas together and see how we make this draft become effective and successful. No. Even before the draft, they started attacking the draft. Can you imagine? And then some of you Ambazonians want to believe that these people are for you. I mean, even before the draft started, they are already attacking the draft. They are already raising alarm. Oh, they don't thief on a draft money. They don't thief. Why are they doing that? The answer remains simple. Because they don't want to see the success of that draft. That's why they are anticipating. Do you know that some people are anticipating the failure of the draft as though the failure of the draft will make them go to Buea? Can you imagine? They are anticipating the failure of the draft as though should the draft fail, they will get independence. Think about it. Do you think if the draft should fail, we will get independence? No, it doesn't take us closer to Buea. As a matter of fact, it leaves us stagnated at the position. So for those who are already anticipating the failure of the draft, they are already prophesying the failure of the draft. It tells you their position. They are not for you. They are not for Ambazonia. They are not for the freedom of the people. That's why they will go and collect money from the BAS, from La Republique. That's why they do all these silly things. Did you ever know that Eric Tato has been collecting money from Kanto until they came and said it? I've said these things, that I have proofs for these things. You guys are saying, oh, Mr. Nanchop is allegation. No. Listen, I'm Mr. Nanchop. I don't speak bab. I have no profit in all this nonsense. I don't have profit in fake propaganda. I have no profit in telling lies against people. Why should I? How would that take me to Buea? When I tell you these things, is to protect this revolution and to open our eyes so that we don't fall into this in the hands of these criminals. So I just gave you the reasons. Now think about it. Those who are anticipating the failure of the draft, even before the draft. Imagine say you want to go be house. Some person plan say me thief you me that. So that you go talk say oh I told na man na thief. They are happy about the failure of the interim government. They are happy. They are anticipating it because they are not for you and they are not for Ambazonia. They've given up on independence. These are the same individuals who said that the idea of an interim government was an error. The same people, Mark Barata, Aritato, the same people who said to you, you should go to the national dialogue. The same people who endorsed the special status from Mr. Biya, the same people who are talking about federation, the same people that we are getting the results that they are the ones that are taking money from Kamto and the rest. The same people are the ones telling you not to support the interim government, not to draft. The same people. And you are obeying them. So who are you? Where are you standing for? And what are you standing for? You see, so this is sad. I don't know how long I'm going to preach this, but I'm hoping that our eyes can get open and we can start doing the right things collectively. Think about it. Look at what happened on the 1st of October. Imagine those boys. If you and me can give them what they need to protect motherland, fatherland, how successful shall we be against the enemy? And how fast shall we prevail against the enemy? In the land of Ambazonia, so mightily grew the Ambazonian restoration forces and prevailed. Can you imagine? This is a word that has been in my spirit all through today. Like in the days of Ephesus, the Bible says the word of God mightily grew in Ephesus and prevailed. Ephesus was a place, a town where there was so much evil, witchcraft, juju, bad things, immorality. But the Bible says in Ephesus, so mightily grew the word of God and prevailed above all that evil. Oh, I see the Ambazonian people. I see the Ambazonian restoration forces. They came out on the 1st of October 2017 with peace plans. But today, they are coming out with their AKs and their machine guns. Yes, they are growing, and they will keep growing in strength, in might, in victory, in wisdom, in technology above La Republique, in resistance and resilience, and prevail over the enemy in our territory. They will. They will. So I pity all those who are internal enablers. Those who are people like, listen, I pity them because their end is they are doomed to fail because you cannot overpower the will of the people. These people, they really believe. Somebody like Felion Kongo, he believes that he will go and join Atanganji and the rest, that they will be able to suppress these thousands of Ambazonians and win us. They will surely kill all of us now. Because even the children, you saw on the 1st of October, even the children were coming out to the streets with their flags and marching and singing. How are you going to... Come on. You will need more than 100 years to kill all these people and kill that spirit of Ambazonia in them. There is no way. It's emphatically wrong. It's practically impossible to eradicate and deracinate Ambazonia from their blood. Ah, man. I'll leave it at that. I think let me take a few calls. By the way, I said I wanted to play an audio. Let me put the audio. Let it be playing now. Let's just get it. Why I will get some few calls.
Oh, no. Wait. Amber people, not disgrace this. We cannot disgrace this, Ebony. Which cannot disgrace this, Ebony, picking the die. What do you want catch Sakona go lock him? What is Sakon do for una? What is Sakon do for una? Prado, wana Prada, what he? Tabian when I be money go.
Why?
So we get the caller on the line. Before I continue with that talk, we'll get the caller. Hello, sir. Hello, madam. Welcome to Amber Voice.
Hello, Mr. Nachop. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Patrol.
And thank you for your program today. At least for coming back to the speech of the president. No one ever does that. Sometimes they chop the final one way don't speak. People don't really know that one. When president don't talk, people just be say don't write on paper. They don't know say when you can't touch again. People they get different tests for that talk. You know I'm no. And then the small talk where I want to come again and say we restoration forces they get a lot of stability, and they get a lot of leadership. You see that them they command villages. So these boys are very intelligent, and they take care of the older ones, just like mom that was marching, and they decided to mow by her, and they were giving her some notes, to congratulate her for what she was doing. So can you imagine that kind of thing? Do you need Biayabacho to do that kind of thing before people know that you are a leader? These guys really have a lot of ability. And another thing I would say is that President Sako is the only one that embraces everyone who calls himself Ambazonian. Whether you are of that or whatever, Ayabacho, Mr. President Sako is holding everybody, because when they say they want to go for national dialogue, they will go and Sako will just validate the whole thing and then come back and end under his arms, and they are moving again and want to be relevant. Then they go and say it's Kamto, they go get Kamto and come back, and Sako invalidates it. It's not working. Then they try to enter to try to be relevant and all those kind of things. So the only thing I would tell people is that you cannot, President Sako cannot be there and you pledge, you have your money in your pocket, and he will be planning to help our forces with nothing in his hand. So if somebody is still holding something, please, let's give everything out so that he doesn't need to only have money when he has headache over it. Money should be in the various counties or areas so that they will be solving the problem as it emerges. Not that you want to see what is happening before you come to your draft. The only thing is draft. Thank you, sir. Have a nice one.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Excellent. Yes, that was a wonderful one from our beloved comrade. So, he has said it all. I don't think I need to emphasize on that. Let's continue with this. Now, this audio is expressing to us the voice of our mothers. They are crying because they don't see, they are tired of the point that, of the fact that the interim government is standing for us and some individuals are fighting the interim government. Listen to it.
I go hold you, I go hold innocent Sako for waiting. Because Sako they try for help. When I don't see say this thing they go one inch ahead. When I want to take them backward. When I want to take them backward. Now witchcraft let me say mammals witchcraft. Now that one they call and say witchcraft. People they die. On the 22nd of this month, they die 11 when they march for Yaoundé. They not die. Your people they for Yaoundé march, they not die. Tabiyan take money. What is Sako in them be do for this page? What is Sako all time? When I begin to die, when I leave Sako, you don't carry Sako now to go get American government. Where you see the American government, they want help we now. Now we kind of balog this Benny. Now we kind of balog this. We na bayang them balog. Now we kind of balog this. Na di give we. Na leave Sako. Na leave Sako. Na leave Sako. Na give my nephew the way they catch and go. Na give him Sako. Na give. These people they not balog people. These people they need sorry for people. Benny, how much money you put on that? For tell me, I give you for the trip to Boya. You tell me I give you that money that will go home, Sako, for nothing. This man didn't talk. This man didn't talk. And he talks over the voice of all women. Una stand up. Una stand up. Una stand up. Oh, they take Sako go. Una stand up. Do something. Una stand up. Do something. Una stand up, women. Women, we are finished. But Bia don't buy a Benny, they all Bayangi boys, they don't buy the all. We don't die, all Bayangi boys, they don't buy the all. Woman, they would have start up, we country don't finish. Amba Piki, they don't finish, although they didn't see them. They only follow now, Sako. Wait, na shame for Bayangi them. Na shame for Bayangi them. Shame! Now give me that my picking the way they go. My nephew they go, all twins the way the honor for we. Twins they go. Now they catch people, they catch people. The 2 boys for me they go lost. Go lost.
Now, this is very painful. This is very painful in the sense that these are mothers that have lost their children. These are women that have lost their husbands. Now, even though I would not agree with everything, she's trying to generalize a lot of things here. But I can understand her pain. This is a mother. You know how mothers, they express themselves when they're angry. So I think I can relate with her. She's angry. And she's expressing her anger, you know. But I want to correct something in her words. She said, Bayangi them. It's true that it's not all Bayangi people. I said it earlier. It's not like when we say Manyu Kabal or what. It's not the Manyu people indeed, because the true Bayangi people and the true Manyu people, they are not this way. They are people of dignity, and they love the truth. They stand for the truth. And there is no Manyu or Bayangi without Ambazonia, and there is no Ambazonia without Bayangi. So I know that this mother, she's saying Bayangi them or whatsoever. I understand, but I don't want, if you are from Manyu or you are Bayangi. By the way, some of you might not know that my mother is from Manyu. So for that to be clear, I think I never told anybody this until today. So when you hear me talk and I use Manyu Kaba, somebody might be thinking that, oh, this boy, no, my mother is from Manyu. So just to get that very straight. Now, I want to make this point very clear, that I feel the pains of this mother. I feel the pains of these individuals when they talk. You see, even though they are trying to generalize it and say Bayangi, no, it's wrong. I first want to correct that. On the other hand, there's something I want to make very clear. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, listen. When I hear mothers cry like this, her cry should not go in vain, because this is a woman that has lost her children. She talked about the twins that she lost. She talked about the people, their children that have died. And she's representing mothers and women that have lost children in this revolution. Now, we might not be able to get all of their voices and their cries on this show. Hold on, caller, hold on. We might not be able to get all of them come and cry. But I thought of bringing this audio and to relate it to the cries of the mothers and the fathers and families in this revolution. It is so painful to see that we have mothers losing their children, people dying, and some individuals, just like she was saying, Bayangi, but we choose to call them the Manyu Kabal because they are the few negative people that are trying to spoil the revolution. They will go as far as collecting money from La République. Can you imagine how wicked Eric Tato is? Can you imagine the degree of wickedness and evil in that guy? No, look at, it's the same thing happening to Nambere. It's the same thing happening to Ferion Congo. Look at, ask yourself the question. The greatest enemies of the interim government are from a particular group of Manu people. Look at what ask Ayok Tabe. Name the rest for yourself. Ayok Tabe, who is the grand katika of Manu, of Koningi. Sorry, I correct myself. Ferion Congo, they are the ones in active collaboration with La République. Mark Barata, Manu. Look at when I say this, I don't want us to. I think we should change that name, Manu Kabal. Let's call them Koningi Kabal, or better, Coalition for Surrender. So henceforth, we are no more using the word Manu Kabal because it sounds, not everybody can understand it, and it's so general, right? So let's stop from using Manu Kabal. Let's use the word Coalition for Surrender Kabal. I think that's very clear. So the Coalition from Surrender Kabal, you see, most of them are people from Manu. That's why it's easy to use the word Manu. But why? Most of them are doing these things because they are driven by tribalism. Just like this mother was saying. They are losing their children. People are dying in Momo. People are dying in Boyo. People are dying in Goketunja. When last did you see somebody from Goketunja or Momo come up and they're doing all these things? No. But if you see those who are even the activists that are trying to sell the revolution, they are from Manu. Why are they doing this? Because of the affiliation with Ayok Tabe. It's to them that if it is not Ayok Tabe who is the president, everything should spoil. And Ayok Tabe said it himself. He said if he is not the one in power, everything should spoil. You see. And these are the few corrupt. Look at Ebini. They are all fighting Dr. Sako, fight. Look at what Tabenyang did. I mean, it is so horrible that Dr. Sako will bring up the ideology to raise my trip to Buea. Tabenyang will not want to obey him. He said he pays his allegiance to Ayok Tabe, not to Dr. Sako, because Dr. Sako is an an acting president. So even though Dr. Sako was out here giving orders, Tabenyang will not obey him. Tabenyang will choose to use the money the way Ayok Tabe wanted, because it's his tribesman. So they have brought in tribalism in the revolution. This is so devilish. And they are doing all this at the cost of the blood of our people and children. That's why when I hear mothers cry like this, it touched me to my core. And then you will see some people, they will go and they're cheering Eric Tato. Now think about it. You are supporting somebody who is doing whatsoever he's doing. He's being paid for by La Republique, and he's doing it out of tribalistic tendencies against the nation, as though the whole of Ambazonia is only Manu based. It's wrong. This is totally wrong. This is totally wrong. Absolute nonsense. That's why I stand with the intelligence, because this thing, the truth is, they say now a small lump destroy the whole fufu. Now when Mami they talk, they tell Bayangi people, they swear, they talk all these negative things. It's too bad. But I know how some people with Manu background and Manu Pekin, how do they feel when they just hear the name and when you attach it with negativity? It sounds like they are attacking a particular tribe, and this is what they want. They know, so when they do this kind of thing, people will start attacking Manu. It will create even some others where they come out from Manu, they will feel negative and they will feel support the revolution. It's wrong. This is totally wrong. So henceforth, please, if we want to make audios and videos, let's choose our words. Say the coalition for surrender. It is true that we identify that most of their workers and members and their gang are individuals from Manu, but we must be able to separate these individuals from Manu as a clan, or Manu in a county in general, or Bayangi as a tribe. Please, I know it's difficult at this time. I know, but I also want to talk to my people from Manu. Listen, this is time for most of you to come out and be very audible, like really cannot do everything alone because it's a Manu chair. But most of you need to come out and speak up. If you don't come out and speak up against what Ayok Tabe and Eric Tato they are doing, you are indirectly in your silence supporting them. So you give some of us the room to believe that this is a general campaign. So most of you, we know we have great, wonderful intelligence. Are you trying to tell me that Eric Tato is the only activist that can come out from Manu? Some of you are saying that, oh, thank God I'm a Bakure person. Yes, because my father is from Bakure land. Okay, Prince Jeka, nature posted like that, Sako is Bakure. So somebody is trying to say, oh, no, Bakure. See, they are trying to make this thing a tribalistic war. This is nonsense. And this has been the principle and strategy of La Republique ever since. To do what? To create tribalism, divide and rule. And now you see that some individuals are giving themselves to the enemy to be used by them to instigate these things. This is wrong. This is totally wrong. And this is not the kind of Amazonia we want to build. I never planned to talk about this and to address this, but I thought it's very necessary for me to bring up these words. Brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, as I'm rounding up, I think I have a caller who's been on the line for a period of time. I just want to give him the opportunity to pick, and I'll take 2 more calls and round up. But please, I know these are very sensitive issues. These are very sensitive issues, but sometimes we need to trash them out. Good evening, sir. Welcome to Amber Voice.
Hi, Mr. Nanchop. Good evening. This is Joe Chenso from Leverkusen.
From Leverkusen. Guten Abend, Bro. Wie geht's dir?
Ja, guten Abend, Bruder. Mir geht's gut und dir?
Mir geht's ganz gut. Danke. Schön, dass du anrufst. Also, was hast du auf dem Herzen? I'll be glad if you can speak it in Pidgin, so that people will understand.
Okay, let me make a talk for Pidgin. I want fight for 1 man fight amongst we, because your program it is very, very important, very, very educative. One man attack dog program where with the advocates they make you get a prime time for ABC TV. I know say way you want to make it. But ground zero needs your broadcast. Just an hour prime time, it be enough for you to pass these very important messages when you pass of your platform. That the most important thing this way as final say make a talk to you, and even if you see petition to create, make it bring you give you just an hour prime time for ABCT. So at ground zero you're going to get all these messages. It will be very good for the revolution, brother. That's alles was ich habe zu dir sagen.
Okay, danke dir für deine Info. Thank you for your information. I think Saro here. So, brothers and sisters, fellow Ambazonians, I think I'll take a few more calls. Let me take 2 more calls, but let's not go back to that topic. So let's focus on this particular topic now. Okay, I have the next caller already on the line. Guten Abend. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, guten Abend.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Nanchop.
Man, it did like say my German people them now. Today when I don't wake up say now go.
Nein, ich habe immer angerufen, aber nie in Deutsch. Aber heute will ich auch wieder in Pidgin, dass jeder hört.
Yeah, das ist richtig. Das ist okay.
Yes, you are doing a great job. Keep it up. What I want to talk about the Manu Cabal. Make we no worry. When La Republic go strike Manu again, even now with them that they started striking Manu at the beginning of this revolution. And they will be back there again if they never know La Republic up till this moment. Now when they go don't start for kill plus their own people, destroy even their own villages by burning them down, maybe that time they go relax, then it's too late for the Manu people. So as you said, it's the time now that the Manu people should come out and speak. Because just these few individuals, you know, if you spoil the whole matter fufu, you know. So it's the highest time Manu people should come out and speak. And
wonderful.
Keep your job going and keep it strong. We are behind you. I'm also in Germany here, but at the background.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Same to you. Danke, dass du angerufen hast. So wonderful.
Okay, I'll choose.
Choose. Okay. Well, I was saying in German that I'm very happy that today my German people that they call. They say all my way they call today. My people from Germany they never sleep, and I past 12 for night. If you imagine how people they hunger for the truth. So I get the next caller on the line. Hello, sir. Hello, madam. Welcome to Amber Voice. Hello. Well, that person in the call, I think from ground 1 from the number, and which was, you know, so the number. Did I get network problem though? Well, I'll take one more call for roundup. I know say don't be late for ground zero, and for Central Europe now don't be late. For Middle East early in the morning. For America we approach evening period, mostly for East Coast. Now we are around 6 p.m. Okay, hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes sir. Welcome to Amber Voice.
German Steve himself.
Yes sir.
Yeah, the German Steve himself. I greet you, sir.
Thank you. Would hear you, Papa.
I want really appreciate you for your show, but I think like the other caller be talking.
Hello.
Go to break some of these back them. Go to break some of these back. Yes. Go to break some of these back them. We really need you, Papa. We really need you. We really need you for ABC. With the back. And I want to send a message. I want to send a message for all my people them, for all our people them, for Ambazonian people them. Make them know say those the way they need one support this struggle. Make them know say a time go come where they go cry why they nobody support the struggle. And for every youth where you talk say Ambazonia no be a country and the La Republic na a country. And they just laugh them. We just laugh them. We look them laugh because La Republic man not be man for laugh with them. You hear me now, brother?
Clear,
yes.
clear.
Better, yeah. La Republic, yes. La Republic man not be man for laugh with them. La Republic man be very, very canny.
Mm-hmm. You're right. No, the man in network the worry. In network the worry. Ma take the next caller, and the one will surely be the last caller. The person will be the call before a network with the worry. Ma just take the next caller. Hello, sir. Welcome
Hello?
to Amber Voice. Yes, sir.
Yes, I call from Ground Zero.
Wow. Welcome, pa.
Yeah, from the Northern Zone.
From the Northern Zone. Great.
Yes. I want to send some small message. I don't know whether the message will go through. I want to try to talk to see Momo one, that's Bengui. The chairman for the assistant they do work fine because if we look for the 1st October for celebration, we'll not see what we come up from there from the chairman. So for all this time we need the sitting way he did do for day. So me the question him if you know if you work, me go another bank camp because we not get time. People are dying.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The
Good.
message don't be clear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just say I get to one other person who will take a call for round up. Do I go in at the last caller for the day? Hello, hello, sir. Hello, madam. Welcome to Amber Voice.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Nanchop. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, God will bless you. Just getting a small thing for talk, for congratulate you again for broadcast president message. I believe say any Ambazonian we had there for this revolution. Only way the president don't talk again for understand exactly who Ambazonian they stand for. Because all these guys they just distract we. But you don't elaborate more than enough. So we know where would they go. I want you to use the opportunity for plead with my fellow Ambazonian them. Who them more than 1 million plus abroad at the call from North America. If any man, every month, any man they contribute for that CID, it will give you enough money for fight the revolution.
That's right.
If any man take this thing upon the for draft, because more not you say the draft will not do at one time. Now all that, the Republic will take contracts from other enablers and like French people them, where they want tea for oil. They give them money, will not get the money. So more officers who don't draft, they don't correct. More continue for draft more and more. The more get the money, the 1st October is then a clear message for any Ambazonian will be stationed for self-defense. They would foresee what will happen. Say, oh, they're ready. Oh, boy, then they're ready. Oh, 1 minute, take me, they go take the chest for fight the Republic. Forgive them what they need. And if we need to contribute the money, the president don't talk, so they give the money, more contribute. May they fight the war, end this thing quick, won't go fit. And one thing the president talk, I really like and plenty. He say, he need to stop other people them for fight the revolution their own way. Any way get them way if he hurt the enemy, bring them for the table. Not bring them against or own people that they fight the same struggle. Why other people that is choose for fight interim government? Not it makes sense. With no the interim government, the people's government is stand for the revolution. All who they for both would go the same direction. So if another man there for that boat where he can't go in the reverse direction, it means he not there with we at all. It means he not one most ever stiboya. But that mean way, if you never lost your own person, you know how that pain day, you know go understand. We don't lost people plenty. We not be the use of revolution, the M Jambu, they take and play game. The years activities that they can't talk. That time don't pass. I pray me all Ambazonian them. They should don't they look into this revolution. They check side where they be come out and side where they be go. The boat they all man because we inside that boat, water the end inside. Any man do all small things, another man they buy the other man they move the water, the boat will see reach that direction would go. But if some people they should don't for side fence, say now one man go the paddle, who go move the water where they enter inside the boat, it means who go sing. So I mean every Ambazonian who come contribute. Who get the money, who know the ground zero for fight, who on fight will get them now, will give them the wait where they need for fight. How go do there for year? My brother there for the bullet the pass per ear, bullet the pass for your face, eat the chop, eat the for snip that they buy them, and therefore you sleep for comfortable bed, come on go work. They are not give them the stick, I'm not thinking that the money for chop. When we do the work, then what will be my own reason why I be Ambazonia? They means I not even get for exist. So now small one this one play with my brother and my sister, where they know say they be true Ambazonian. May not sit down again for side fence. Make every man will come more contribute money, move the money. Me, I don't draft, I don't do everything. I don't do money for my county. I don't count them. I know what time, I know one day. As I see that boss, they say there's still some engine inside my belly. Say, what have they do? I not even anything. So I've been more than motivated for go an extra mile. Because every month now, they take extra shift. I know say that extra shift, that money go now for them. They need to go for me. So at the Premier or Amazon, do same. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Nanchop, God bless you, sir, for the wonderful way you do.
Wonderful. Thank you, Comrade, for calling. As you said, that might come away the call for Finland. We don't call the red line. Call again, I'll pick your call. So, ma take the next call away on the line. Okay, I get the person. Hello, welcome to Amber Voice.
Hello. Is that Mr. Nanchop?
Yes, sir. You are talking to Mr. Nanchop. I'm live.
Okay, great. I'm very happy for this opportunity to make my own contribution. I'm calling from Finland, and this is I can say this is the new Dr. Common Sense.
Okay, new Dr. Common Sense.
Yes. So we must follow from the footsteps of our former of our elders.
That's right.
So, but, yes, I am very grateful for the show today. It was very informative. And I'm also happy that you tried to analyze the president's speech and try to explain it, break it down, so that the people who are listening could understand. And I also hope that that message will go down as we continue to replay.
Can you try to be a little bit more audible so that we can get you? Please.
Hello. Can you get me now?
Yes, it's better.
Can you get me?
It's better. Yes, sir.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, maybe I have to change my position then. So basically what I'm saying is that I was very impressed with the analysis of the president's speech that you gave, so that the people can understand. I mean, it is very clear that some of those activists like Mark Arata, EPOM and so on have completely gone astray. They have gone astray, they have been misguided. They are no longer carrying the vision of the country, of Southern Cameroons. How can you say that? How can you fight your government and then you are asking for the world to recognize your country? You should start by recognizing your government, then the world will recognize your country. You cannot fight your government and then you say you are asking the world to recognize your country.
That's a good one.
Hello?
Yes, sir, that's a good point, yeah.
You cannot be fighting your government and then you're asking the world to recognize your country when you cannot even recognize your own government. So you are lying to the people. So all those sets of activists with their leader, Ayub Tabe, which I will call the Coalition for Foolishness, they have completely gone astray and should be ostracized. Nobody should listen to them. I know that people are not listening to them anymore because most of their platforms are full of infiltrators and robots. Another point I wanted to also say is this. The idea of a government is not a new thing in Southern Cameroon. The Southern Cameroon people have always lived under an organized structure which was a government led by Muna, led by Foncha, led by Ndeli. So, the very first institution which La République destroyed was the government. After they destroyed the government, they now started stealing and destroying all the other institutions like PowerCam, Fonade, and all those institutions. So what you have to do is to install the main first institution, and then if you are restoring your country, you must start with the government, restore it. That has been done. And then now put up pressure and then gradually begin to restore the other institution. That is how it has to go. If somebody tells you otherwise, it means they don't. Even somebody like Wilbur, I was shocked when he said that, oh, the government was a mistake. No, it wasn't a mistake. It was the first step. First of all, they destroyed the government of Foncha by tricking him that he's going to be the father of unification and that he's going to be the vice president in La Republic. That was a trick. And after they infiltrated the government, that is how they have this way to be destroying the other institution. So I think if we are on track, the interim government should only be strengthened and get stronger and stronger. And nowadays we have the regional or LGA by LGA, county by county, which is a very difficult structure for La Republic to break.
That's right.
Ayaba's block by block was very easy to infiltrate. They easily infiltrate ADF because of that block by block. The blocks weren't defined. You don't know where one block starts and where it ends. It was just vague, a very vague idea, block by block. Where is the block? Where does it start? Who leads one block? Block A or block nothing. Which means an infiltrator will come from Mokolomake. A Bamileke infiltrator can come from Mokolomake, who speaks English very well, and go to Kendem and join a group there. Nobody will be able to do a background check. Nobody will recognize them. Nobody will know who they are. But with the LGA county by county, you fight around places where you have grown or where you have lived for several years. It's not tribalism. It's accountability. People know you. At least 1, 2, 3 fighters will say, oh, we know this guy. We know their parents. He lives here and so on. So I think we are on track. The only thing now is to continue to put our mind in the direction where it is going. That is what has to be done.
And I think that complements what I said by saying that we all must give the interim government our support.
Yes, if possible, we should form a personality call. I'm not saying that it's necessary now, but when it becomes necessary, we should form a court around the interim government or around the presidency. That doesn't mean that we are creating a dictatorship. No, because it is necessary. Disparate measures require disparate actions. Look how the British people have created a personality cult around their queen. They worship her, they respect her, and the whole world follows suit. If you do the same for Ambazonians, if it becomes necessary, you have to do it. You have to do it because you are seeking for recognition. Yes, you are seeking for recognition. If
okay,
you
Kola.
Yeah, I think I'm taking a lot of your time, but yes. I just wanted to reaffirm what you just said, and I think you are heading towards the right direction, please. So I think that's enough for today. I will call from time to time again, and
yes,
just
that will be excellent, Mr. Sense Pasking the second.
I appreciate you.
Okay, Mr. Sense Pasking the second. Thanks for calling. Bye bye. Have a nice evening. Stay tuned to Undervoice though. I think we already still have another call on the line. Yeah, hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Nanchop.
Yes, please move away from your TV set. Come off your laptop, corner. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, now you be last caller for the day, so I'll give you time for talk now. What you want tell we?
I get my own worries.
Okay.
About this revolution, and the better man talk me all Ambazonian. They listen to me. If maybe I be wrong somewhere, but this thing has been bothering me. It didn't bother me for almost 2 years.
Okay.
Ambazonian, we fight for identify ourselves as a nation. Interim government promised we ID cards now 2 years today. What is happening? Who said that I can need to identify myself as an Ambazonian. When I identify myself anyway, they retain the ID card 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, they go accept at the 4th time. That's we get to force the identity for the international community to identify us as Ambazonians. Who said the ID card? Secondly, that ID card is supposed for the heavy response for you fighters for fighting. That's a government instrument for response ID card. We for the diaspora, we should get them, but they put them for home. Then only forget that man way if you protect them for home, he get them no problem. What the government did do for that issue for ID card? What did it happen?
Now,
refugees and they want to repatriate them. If they want to repatriate for refugees, so they show an Ambazonian ID card saying, look, we are Cameroonians, but we are Southern Cameroonians. This is my ID card. They're not going to repatriate them. They will tell them, okay, we have not yet recognized this your country, but wait, let's study your file. No personal thing with you. You know the claims of identity. When they for play, we know identify yourself from that area. Those are things, common simple things we should know. That things that governments will know.
Okay.
Mr. Nanchop, all that I don't know how to get in touch with those people. We then sit up.
Yes, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. You don't make that point. You don't stress that point enough. You don't make it clear. I know we'll respond now publicly to that. By the way, the ideology of the ID card, I know it's a very good ideology, and I know the interim government don't bring up that idea and don't debate on the idea. Now, I think say the idea way now I talk based on the information I get of a stance of today. I never update myself on this. Maybe person no misquote me. So I feel the information which I feel the talk now feel been a limited information based on my last stand of information what I get. I know say the team be there on duty. The interim government don't make good contacts the way we get to start make that particular process maybe materialized. You see, so I know if we talk now on how far that particular thing don't be done. But by the way, one of these days I'll get the president as a guest for my show. We plenty of and I will get the opportunity for asking, and I just said don't have to be one of the questions for ask, not just the interim government but also people the way they be part of the interim government. As I thought one of these days I'll get the president for my show as a guest. So do my countryman for. Okay, I should say you'll be disconnected, comrade.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you'll be disconnected. So I don't know what I get way to I talk. If you say no get them, I will bet you go back, go re-listen them. So you get your second point you want bring them?
Yeah, I get the second question.
Okay.
Would the talk school no go? Now good idea. But what the Department of Education do for counteract la Republic their own curriculum? What our own Department of Education don't bring up say okay, since this beginning they for bush, since for one day on exile, look now school curriculum this no government they make me they without mistakes. We get for make mistakes, then we correct them. If the Department of Education don't release books and say okay, now class 7 primary school books and this, now class from 1 books and this. Parents and they will go buy their picking their books. Even
okay, hold on, Coach Man. Hold on, Papa.
Yes.
I think your question was asked me be clear. My response to your question. Now, from the actual information I get, and I just said one be very necessary, make every Ambazonian get down. Our Department of Education don't produce a curriculum for studies for Ambazonia. That won't be possible. And I know say what interim government don't go as far as for present them to the United Nations. Now,
okay,
while interim government know the sleep, you get to understand say if we're interim government and we advocate say make schools no go on, not because we don't like education. As a matter of fact, what interim government don't present that to the international community say, hey, listen. This is our curriculum. The thing we want to more begin to learn. We'll be willing to go for school. We'll be willing to teach what picking them. We no one made them follow the two La Republic to teach them. What is La Republic to teach what picking them? For those the way they teach me picking they go back for school, don't mean they picking they go learn away nonsense from La Republic. We get a curriculum we don't present them for the United Nations. I don't tell them say we want them to create a conducive atmosphere, meaning an atmosphere of security. Where catch you know go to fly up and down for keep picking them, so that they picking them, they feel learn this thing we don't put them for table. And it go be easy. The simple thing for United Nations for send peacekeeping force, when any talk or whatsoever they go on, may they empower peace for ground zero. We go recruit teachers then for implement this curriculum plan with the educational department of the interim government don't draft them. So you get to understand, so we get to work there diplomatically. So we don't produce this this curriculum then, we don't give them for the United Nations and for the bodies the way, of course, they be in charge. You know, say, we know if you just do things so, And even now, even if we decide to one go more picking, they start go learn, they start buy textbook or whatsoever, that one in a good step, in a good to talk. But we also need to work with those things out for a diplomatic level internationally.
Yeah, I understand quite well, but which one they talk now? Say, look, let's say Ambazonians will get freedom tomorrow. You understand? Many things that they will give students, they get for fast track students, they wait like students they don't stay 4 years, they don't go school, they get for do so fast track exams, all those things. So the sport already start knowing the way they foresee in 4 or 5 years time after the independence, after the freedom. You understand? And why that they say we they give the picking their books, they make them begin read their money, they didn't have a book school, they didn't have also any man begin try their best. So that when time to reach for set that exam they reach, any man they prepare. You know, so you know lost the 4 years.
Well,
you understand what I mean?
In other words, I think say what you talk it makes sense. Now, which I feel suggest and then I say what see. Ma fine tune your ideology. What you talk makes sense. Ma fine tune your ideology. You know, this coronavirus don't teach we a lot of things there, and we live in a world of digitalization, where, in other words, you try to talk more see the means we will digitalize our planned educational system and bring them across Ambazonians so much that begin to use the digital educational system for the learn at home. Meaning say, man for form one get it handy, it go online, it follow the if you install if you get an educational app, we go to use them for follow the stops them for form one. When a good idea. Now for we for look how to implement them to a certain degree when a good thing. I think it's a good suggestion. I just fine tune what you talk and I think it's a good thing. In a good suggestion, I believe say people from the interim government they watch me, people from the educational department they watch me. Me says I will take the idea and still bring them for the interim government. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you then. All that my two worries then that too, because when if we solve these two issues, to be truthful to you, like or not, if United Nations can stay aside as African Union, I hope the interim government already put them Malcolm X behind African Union because Ambazonians don't go join African Union. We are not there for that cash. Ambazonians don't join African Union. Hope so now be aware.
Okay, comment. Thank you for your one for the call. Thank you for raising up your concerns and questions.
Okay, have a nice time then.
Yes, bye Bo. Bye. Wonderful. So you know, I feel like some days I just get for come for life for can't answer questions if Ambazonia. Because the question when my brother asks, I see some people the guy say nonsense caller. No, listen, this is Amber voice. Wait till my brother asks the question a bit good. It not been a question for your taste, but a bit good, you see. And since the one Amber voice would want everybody get the opportunity for expressing mind, we not fit turn down the call. And which way ask, I believe I don't answer to a certain degree to your own satisfaction. And I like the ideology of digitalization. I believe say a good idea will feel work them out. For say as we're picking the before house, we feel look which way from one person they get for land, which way from two person, from three, from four, class 1, class 2, we produce them in the form of apps. People don't get their app, picking don't get their apps, they will log into the app, you go choose your class, and man will create your account. If now in the form of website like digital, I mean nowadays everything is moving towards most universities abroad they start only online. So if we create that kind of system now, it is not bad. But then how to sustain them? If we create them in the form of an app or websites, we also need the infrastructure facilities for sustain them. For instance, good internet systems, because when La Republic starts that kind of thing, I know so they will start counteract them. They will go now for 7 minutes, they go check people their phone for so they get an app for this. So it make the whole thing become complicated, you see. Now whatever I think is one of the most important steps then, where this kind of thing we feel the only plan them already for background, work and for background. One of the most important steps then, now a peacekeeping force for step in, for create an atmosphere where be conducive for picking them for learn. And I believe say if people from the educational department or sector from the interim government, they listen to all these wonderful ideas, and this is what makes Amber Voice very unique, because you get people from different. I think say I don't know what this comedy really want for corner for partake for the problem. I'm live. I don't know if you're calling to partake on the live show. Hello, I said I'm live. I don't know if you're calling to partake on the live show. Not okay. I'm calling you in 5 minutes. I'm rounding up. Great, thanks. So as I was saying, fellow Ambazonians, where the person who called me is one of those who is working for the educational department. So I thought she was calling to participate in the show. I'll be very sorry. I don't want to say program don't finish, but people they still call, and I'd be tempted for pick these calls then. Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Amber Voice with Mr. Nanchop.
Yeah, Mr. Nanchop. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Thanks for calling. What's on your mind?
Yeah.
Hello. I cannot get you. I don't know why. Can you please repeat what you said?
No, is that the topic about school resumption, Mr. Sir?
Okay.
Yeah. But the problem is not that we don't want our kids to go to school. We are in the war. If you look around the world, Ambazonia is not exempted. And that is what La Republic want to use. Please, our kids will go to school after the war. Let's stop anything to try to knock our head looking for way how. No. After dispute. Because it is not a win-win, because we are calling them to come and let's address the root cause of the problem, and we solve. If they are going their way, we're going our way. From there, after that, schools will resume. I mean, we will look for a way. We will know that people have missed. It is our account to know the way we will compensate people.
Okay.
We know we will fast track. People should stop to devise means that people should go to school while the Republic, that is what he wants. That is the language. We should stop that language. People will go to school. Nobody. I want everybody. We have relatives, we have brothers that have to go to school. But people have died so much that we cannot. What about those who have died? What about those who are in Nigeria not going to school? What about those who are in the forest? Yes. If you want to go to La Republic, internally displaced and be there and be confusing yourself between French and English, that is no curriculum. So far as I know, the education they are studying in Douala, all that is just, it will not be like what after all this that we have our curriculum. We will compensate them. We will compensate. We will know that they didn't go to school. They will have jobs. Some of us came to Europe 32 years.
Wow.
We level the level of education, but today we have degrees in Europe and we are working no matter what.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that wonderful contribution.
I'm telling you that we came here to Europe with how but I'm telling you there are people with masters and they are working after they spend all the time. They did not even have the A levels, but they came here, higher education, university, and they have good masters and they are working.
Yes.
Because Europe knows that human beings are the first resources in any society, and they tap in and they are getting. We'll use that. Our people will go to school. There will be no issue. Go to school. You come. You can do it. You do it. So our people we should leave it, please. We should not talk about this thing of school again.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. There's something I want to say to that as I'm rounding up. I think that was the last call of the day. Please, I'm not going to take any calls again. I think I've not been faithful to my words by taking 4 other calls after the last call I said. But I'm not going to take any calls again for today. I want to say something. We are starting a new program tomorrow on this platform. Now, most of you are very aware and acquainted with Amber Voice with Mr. Nanchop, right? So we are going to start a new program, and that program kickstarts tomorrow. It's called, now a part of Amber Voice with Mr. Nanchop, which is a unique program on its own. You know, on the Amber Voice, I come out as a grinder. I come out as an educator, right? I come out as the German still. So you know that side of me. Now we are going to have another program that is starting tomorrow. And it's kickstarting. We call it Tori Time. Tori Day. Tori Time with Mr. Nanchop. At the beginning, I'll launch the program. And it's simple. Now we have a team. You just come tomorrow at 7 p.m. Amber to experience it. It's going to be wonderful. Now we'll be discussing about things like this where it's an open forum. We have many people who will be discussing. So tomorrow at 7 p.m. you don't want to miss Tori Time with Mr. Nanchop. Tori Time. And this program, I'm launching the program, but in subsequent days and weeks to come, I'll be handing it over for someone else to run. So we are extending our route. We are going to make sure that we have almost on a daily basis different programs for the people of Ambazonia where we are focusing just on the struggle. So the Tori Time is going to be a program where we have the people come up. It's open discussion. Just come tomorrow and you enjoy it because it's a mixture of a lot of things, and we have a lot of revolutionary ancients that are partaking in this program. 7 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday. You don't want to miss Tori Time with Mr. Nanchop. In fact, the topics tomorrow are so exciting and educative. One of those things we'll be talking about is school resumption. So I never wanted to step into that today because I saw most of our callers are calling and they're bringing up these ideas, like the things you guys are calling right now to talk about. And I see the callers that are calling to talk about school resumption. This is a topic that we'll be trashing during the Tori Time, you see, with Mr. Nanchop. So
Mr. Nanchop, I brought one thing. You will just permit me, give me 1 second.
Okay, sir. Please, can you? Okay.
I'll be brief. It is very important. It's something that I wrote it and I sent it to some platforms.
Okay.
After listening to our Secretary Chris yesterday, in fact, I said yes. It's good that he came out to announce about our brothers who are nearly going to be deported wherever they have transported them. But I said to them that yes, it's still our people's age, the people's interim government has to. This was supposed. I even said in my own forum that this was supposed to. These county heads, they were supposed to work in their own group and raise funds quick, so that in fact Europe, America is the same. To call a legal mind also behind to lobby.
Hello, sir.
People.
Hello, sir. Hold on, caller.
Goodwill people will generate fund even $5 for $5, $10 we'll get some money that we can say yes, we're taking this matter ahead. We're hiring a legal mind.
Yes, caller, I want to say something. What you are saying, I think that does not fit into today's show. It's a great idea.
Okay, yeah, that's just what I said. I wanted to say something which is different from the show. That's why I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. If you will not mind, that's why we want to start with another program that is complementary to Amber Voice, so that I know Tori Time is going to be a program. That's why you need to call tomorrow. Please, 7 p.m. tomorrow. You need to make sure you call and bring up these points, because we are having a group of panelists and other people who are also from the interim government that will be gathering your points, and they can take it back and act on it swiftly. We'll be having representatives from the Restoration Council, from most wings of the Ambazonian revolution. So much that when we talk about things like this, they can swiftly be acted upon. So please, this is your question and point. Put it down. I want you to call tomorrow. If not, I'll call you. It's going to be a conference. Yes. So for us to round up today, this show of today, fellow Ambazonians, I know we've been here for over 2 hours. I intended originally to keep this within 90 minutes. And I can't stop taking your calls. I see right now people are still calling. But please, the topic of school resumption is a topic we're going to talk about tomorrow. You may want to call tomorrow and give your contribution to that. And as I said, it's Tori Time. It's open. So when you call, we can give you 10 minutes to talk. Nobody will stop you. You see. But I want to make sure we are defining the program so that I will not be having a one program mixed with a lot of things. And people at Ganzora are watching. Somebody tells me, whenever I come, he knows I'm coming live. He puts a credit and he does refill for 500 CFA. And if the program is so extensive, he cannot watch all the program, and that's not what we want, right? So this platform is growing, and I want to assure you one thing. The Mr. Nanchop platform will continue to grow in strength, in wisdom, and in effectiveness, in effective, fervent communication of our plight to the world, and in internal teachings to our people. Nothing will stop us, you see. So let the haters die. Let them go and may they go kiss electric pole for Malingo. But we will grow and teach our people and give out to the people what they need. We will strongly stand with the people of Ambazonia. This platform will be a shield to the people. Yes, I want you to understand that La République, you know, they could only pull us this back because they succeeded in manipulating so many activists whom we gave our trust and respect. I mean, just imagine that those activists that have been corrupted, if they were for the revolution wholeheartedly, if they stood their grounds and resisted the devil. Most of them are even journalist students, graduates, but they are not using their talents for the profit of the nation and to the advancement of the Ambazonian people or the struggle. So it's sad, but we need to fill those loopholes. We need to be innovative and fill in those loopholes. So most of you are out there, you are young, talented, you can talk, you can make audios, you have good talents. Contact me. We have to see how even if you want to work at the background, you may say, I just want to be making this, I want to be making posters. If you want a training, I can train you to be cutting just videos so that you make sure your own responsibility is, when I make a show like this, you cut the videos and share on WhatsApp. So you may have the willingness, but you lack the expertise. I will train you. So I'm trying to develop teams that will train people for different duties so that we all will become somehow effective in our communication in this revolution. See, the mistake we are doing is we are hoping that some guy somewhere does the communication. That's how we hope we put our trust on some like this communication that no, I believe all of us, we need to work like ants. We must effectively put our energies and strength together to communicate both externally and internally. Externally to the world, internally to what? Ourselves. People down to the roots, those in the villages, the fighters, they must get the messages. So that's why sometimes I always say share. And it's sad that some people will come and listen and sit for 2 hours and listen. They don't share. So how are you helping the struggle? How are you propagating the cause? Well, that will not stop people like us from doing what is right for the Ambazonian people, you see. And I just want to assure you that our revolution is on good track. And I feel your disappointment with people who've gone out and are collecting money from the enemy to sell the cause. But I want to also assure you that I personally, Mr. Nanchop, and I feel responsible in standing for the Amazonian people and in bringing the right information to the people. You know, in many dimensions, there are things. Sometimes there are a lot of things I can. You know, I have just 24 hours a day. I'm a family man. I'm a worker. I work. So and I do all of these things alone. You know, so I'm extending the team, and that's why I'm challenging some of you who want to be active. You might need some training. You may want to learn how to cut videos, make audio, trim audios, put things together, make posters. Come and get the training for free. And let me just use this opportunity to say this. We've talked about the extension of the platform where we wanted to be developing a strategic IT course, right? I've talked about that a series of times, but you see, I'm just a man that has 24 hours a day. In as much as I want to do that, that's why this platform is growing, and we must make it become so dynamic and strong for the revolution. Also, in the sense of extending it to because the IT course, many Ambazonians, both home and abroad, will benefit from it. You see, but I can do these things. I want to do them, but I cannot clone myself. You see, that's why I'm looking forward in those people who want to participate and learn, get some training. I can fast train them in 1 or 2 weeks, delegate some responsibilities to them. You know how I get my videos, teach you how to become a detective like myself. Then we all work for the revolution, because we must save this revolution from the hands of La Republique and the enemy. Seriously, La Republique is not. The problem is we don't have that money to pay people to do these things, and because a lot of people work voluntarily, they are not committed. But La Republique, they have the money, they are paying the people. So that's why you see they have somewhere like my country who is not working. EPOM is not working. They get up every day, they are coming live. I wish to come live twice a day to talk to the people. I wish that there are just so much to talk and to tell the people. But we are all limited in this body, and we have all limited number of hours a day, you see. And but when we put our energies together collectively, we can do something great for the nation and for Ambazonia. That's where I'm counting on you. And I think it bounces back to the topic of today. We must all support the interim government, this revolution, support ourselves. Thank you. I've been your host on this special edition of Amber Voice, and I'm going to leave it for today like that. See you tomorrow, guys. You don't want to miss 7 p.m. Amber time. You don't want to miss 7 p.m. Amber time. I'll keep the surprise. Until then, stay strong, stay healthy, stay courageous until we get to Boya. Cheers.